I like to say thank you. Thank you very much, Electronic Arts. Thank you very much, Battlefield Studios, not just for providing me with a review key for this great game. No, I like to say thank you for this absolute mind-blowing HDR experience. And this game is evidence, is proof how good HDR can look like in a game if developer really care. This game looks stunning on my LG G4. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. First things first, please like, share and subscribe, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I can to announce that this game has not a perfect HDR implementation, because there is no such thing as a perfect HDR implementation, but it is absolutely mind-blowing. We have zero issues with the HDR black level floor, and we have zero issues with the HDR specular highlights, at least what I can see so far. I haven't tested the whole game, of course, and I have just access to the PlayStation 5 version at this very moment. But again, what I have seen so far on my LG G4 is absolutely stunning. So let's not waste too much time and let's go straight to the facts. This game supports the HDR system level calibration on the PlayStation 5, where I have tested the game. I'm pretty sure the same counts for the Xbox Series. I'm not quite sure though how it works on a PC, but maybe you have an additional setting to adjust the maximum peak brightness in specular highlights. Because on the consoles in the game we have two settings to change the HDR presentation. We have the world brightness setting and the user interface brightness setting. I'm pretty sure again that on the PC you have an additional setting called maximum peak brightness. And if you have any questions about the HDR system level calibration and how to set up HDR in the correct way on the PlayStation 5, Xbox or even PC, check out my channel because I have made already a couple of videos. And now let's talk about the two settings what we have in the game: world brightness setting and user interface brightness setting. And we start with the user interface brightness setting because this setting is straightforward. It really just changes the maximum brightness in user interface or HUD symbols on your screen. So feel free to change this as you like it. The world brightness setting, on the other hand, is a little bit more complicated. I wouldn't call this setting a paper-white setting because unfortunately what I found is that as soon you increase or decrease this setting, you will also affect the maximum peak brightness and specular highlights, and you will also affect the HDR black level floor. And this is something which in my opinion should not happen, because if you have a proper HDR paper white setting in a game, it should not touch the maximum peak brightness and specular highlights, or it should not affect the HDR black level floor. But as you can see here in my examples, unfortunately that's the case. The good news is that I played the whole time with the standard factory setting 50, and on my LG G4 with HGHG enabled, I never had the feeling that the game is too dark or too bright. The HDR average picture brightness in this game with the standard factory setting 50 is, in my opinion, pretty good. And of course, I know that you like to hear some recommendations in regards to the best HDR settings for your screen, TV or monitor, but as always, it is very hard to recommend the perfect HDR settings for your screen. And that's why the only proper recommendation what I can do is to make sure that you set up the HDR system level calibration on the PlayStation 5, Xbox and PC in the correct way. And again, I'm pretty sure that on the PC you have additional settings to set up the maximum peak brightness in specular highlights. And if you don't know what number or value you should use, hopefully this chart is helpful. I have not listed all TVs, of course, or all screens, and if there is something missing and you can actually contribute the correct value what your screen, TV or monitor is using, please let me know this in the comment section and I will update my table here. If you still have some questions, have a look at rthings.com, because this website is testing a lot of screen TVs or monitors, and maybe they have tested your screen TV or monitor as well, and you can see what the maximum peak brightness is of your screen. But the main question of course is, what can we actually expect when we're playing this game in HDR? And I told you already that I haven't changed anything in regards to the world brightness settings or all my testing here was done, or all my footage here was done with world brightness set to 50. And as you hopefully can see, there is no reason to complain about the HDR implementation at all. There is no reason to complain about the HDR black level floor, because we can have perfect zero black, perfect OLED black if the game requires it. And on the other hand, we have absolute fantastic looking specular highlights. And this means the contrast, the dynamic range in this game is fantastic. This is exactly what I like to see on a proper TV like my LG G4. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this video, and I just hope I did not forget anything. No, we talked about black level floor as always, you know, very important in my opinion. Specular highlights, of course, also very important, because then in combination we have great contrast. No, I did not forget anything. Forget about HDR color space, because as in many other games, we're talking about Rec 7 or 9, which is not a bad thing, okay? Don't get me wrong. We don't need BT 2020 or DCI-P 3 color space in all the games, because it's not necessary, okay? But this game looks absolutely fantastic with the standard color range, and it looks absolutely realistic. That's the most important thing. What else can I tell you about the HDR implementation? I just like it, okay? I just really like it, and I had so much trouble actually to test, because most of the time I tried not to die. But this game is absolutely fantastic. I like the campaign. I had a lot of fun. And again, the HDR implementation is just, wow, mind-blowing, okay? So this is really hard, of course, if you play a game like that with a fantastic HDR implementation on a fantastic TV like the LG G4, because you always try, or it's, at least it's me, I always look at specular highlights. I'm always looking to, oh my God, this looks good, this looks good. How is the HDR black level floor here? And then you die because you're not focusing on the game. But that's just me. The game is fantastic. I haven't tried multiplayer so far, honestly, but I suck anyway when it comes to games like that. I just hope you enjoy the game. I just hope you like, share, and subscribe to the video. And again, thank you very much, Electronic Arts, for providing me with a review key. I highly appreciate this. And now it's time to say thank you very much, and I see you guys next time. Bye.